Today, I am going to share some tips for traveling with credit cards. Things like how to use tap to pay safely, how to prevent RFID theft, and the truth about RFID technology explained, and a new ATM scam to beware of. I'll wrap it all up with a 6-step process to stay safe while using your credit card abroad. All this and more so you can travel smart in style. Let's do this. I have some pretty popular videos on my channel featuring anti-theft gear, travel security tips, cash carrying tips, and more. On some of these videos, I've gotten comments about RFID technology, specifically RFID blocking sleeves, wallets, and purses. In these comments, some people are suggesting that RFID blockers are a rumor and that RFID theft is not a risk. One commenter even said that their bank had actually told them that RFID blocking gear isn't necessary. I also had a number of comments from people who are dubious about RFID theft even being a thing at all, since they don't know anyone who's actually been a victim of it. So before we get into the meat of my credit card travel tips, let's talk about RFID, because it's important to understand the technology before we can get into some of the opportunities, as well as the risks, of things like tap-to-pay features and contactless payment safety. RFID stands for Radio Frequency Identification. This technology uses radio waves to transmit and remember data. It has two main parts, tags and readers. The reader has one or more antennas to send and receive electromagnetic signals back from RFID tags. The tags, which can be found in credit cards, debit cards, passports, pet ID tags, car keys, certain forms of ID, hotel room key cards, and more, contain information that the RFID reader can capture. This technology is amazing. It enables all kinds of conveniences, including contactless payments, which is actually the most secure way to pay for something, but we'll get into the nuances of that shortly. The risk is that thieves can use handheld RFID scanners to capture the information stored on a card's RFID chip. And they can do it from a distance without physically touching the card, which puts you at risk of identity theft and fraud. The answer to this threat is keeping your RFID credit cards, passports, etc. in RFID blocking, sleeves, wallets, purses, etc. A lot of purses and wallets these days are made with RFID blocking tech. Although there is a school of thought that says wrapping your card in heavy-duty tinfoil is just as effective, though not equally as convenient if you play that one out. Now, in order to put this video together, I did some research. In fact, I dove down a rabbit hole of RFID technology and RFID skimming and RFID theft to see if it's really a thing. And for every article I found that says RFID theft is not a real risk and that RFID blocking technology and products are useless, I found an equal number of articles saying the exact opposite. So here's the deal. I'm not a technology expert, and I'm not here to tell you irrefutably that RFID theft is or isn't a thing. I have no vested interest in the outcome. My mission is simply to help people travel smart in style, and in so doing, to have a system in place to minimize your risks of bad things happening while you're abroad. To that end, I say, better safe than sorry. I'd rather use RFID blocking technology and know that I have that extra measure of safety than to not have it and potentially leave myself exposed to additional travel security risks. I will say this. Personally, I know 2 people who shared stories with me of having their identities and credit card information stolen in such a way that it would be hard to explain it being done any other way than by RFID skimming. One story was a woman who said she went out one day to a busy marketplace with 3 specific credit cards that she doesn't normally keep in her purse. The cards never left her purse, but when she got back home, those 3 specific cards had fraudulent purchases on them. Another story was from a guy who told me he was traveling internationally. At the airport on his way out of the country, he had his wallet in his back pocket. He also noticed that when he was in line to check in, the person behind him was standing a bit too close for his liking. By the time he arrived at his destination, all the cards that were in his wallet had been compromised. Coincidence? I don't know. But those 2 stories are enough for me personally to want to make sure I'm protecting my cards and my passport. Because when you travel, especially if you travel long-term like I do, you do not need the inconvenience of having to deal with credit card fraud while you're abroad. Period. All right, now that that's about as clear as mud, let's talk about some of the ways RFID enables the safest way to pay for things with your credit card and an ATM scam to beware of. When you use your credit card or debit card, there are 3 ways you can pay: with the magnetic strip, the chip, or contactless payment. The magnetic strip is the least secure way to use your credit card. Actually, the least secure way to use your card is called card not present, which happens when you buy something online and you either unwittingly enter your credit card information into a fraudulent site, or your own device, like your phone or computer, has been hacked and somebody captures your information as you enter it in. This is kind of beyond the scope of what we're talking about here, but the best way to protect yourself against this kind of fraud is to double check the website that you're entering your information into, and also to use a VPN to encrypt your computer. All right, back to the magnetic strip. The challenge with the magnetic strip is that it contains all of your credit card information, as in your name, account number, expiration date, and card verification code. The challenge is also that it is very easy for the bad guys to get this information by installing a skimmer on whatever device that scans your credit card. Particularly risky are ATMs and gas station pumps, which are notoriously rigged with skimmers. I did another episode on top ATM mistakes where I talk about how to identify a skimmer on an ATM, so I suggest you check that out for more information. In short, wherever and whenever possible, don't swipe your card. Paying with the chip is a bit more secure. You simply dip the part of your card that has the chip on it into a reader, and usually you are also required to enter in your 4-digit PIN. The chip contains a digital code that changes with each purchase, so not all of your information is shared every time you pay this way. But of course, whenever you find yourself having to enter in your PIN, make sure that you cover it with your hand so nobody, or no camera, can see it being entered in. Next up, contactless payments. These became wildly popular during the pandemic when contactless ways of doing business became more of a necessity. They're also secure in that you don't have to stick your card into any kind of reader that may or may not have a skimmer installed. You can take this whole thing one step further with things like Apple Pay or Google Pay, which allows you to use your smartphone at a tap and pay reader. The beauty of this is that in order to make a purchase, you have to authenticate every purchase with the phone's Face ID or fingerprint function. And your actual credit card information is not even being shared, just a one-time code that is unique for every purchase. I used to think that paying for things with my phone or watch was not entirely secure, but now that I've done the research for this video, I'm going to use it a lot more. All right, here's the new ATM scam to be aware of. Some ATMs have an RFID feature that you can use instead of inserting the card into the machine. This is awesome and I'm all for it because this gets you around potential skimmers that may have been installed on the machine, or illicit cameras that may be capturing you entering in your PIN, and even risks that the machine eats your card, which is a serious inconvenience if you're traveling. Here's where it gets dicey. Normally when you insert your card into an ATM, in order to finish the session, you confirm that you're done and you get your card back. When you use the RFID feature, you don't ever actually relinquish your card, so you don't close out the session by getting it back. This means you need to be extra attentive to clicking the buttons to finish your session and waiting until the screen goes back to the original home menu before you walk away. Apparently, some scammers will actually put glue in the ATM card slot, and then when you find you're having trouble getting the card in, they'll pretend to wander up and help by saying, oh, it's not working, but you can use this contactless feature. They're assuming that you've never used this feature before, and they just hang around pretending to read or wait for a bus or whatever. What they're hoping is that you were going to forget to answer the prompt, do you want to do more stuff? And you're just going to walk away once you have your money. This leaves the account open for them to walk up to the machine after you've gone away and to withdraw more money. Let's wrap this up with 6 quick and dirty ways to stay safe while using your credit card or debit card abroad. 1. If you're using an ATM, check for skimmers. And always make sure that you end your session before walking away. And watch my video about ATM mistakes to avoid. I'm just saying. 2. If possible, don't use readers or terminals that require you to swipe or fully insert your card. The chip and PIN feature or contactless payment features are more secure. And if you can level up this strategy by setting up Apple Pay or Google Pay so you don't even have to pull your credit card out of your wallet. 3. Speaking of wallets, make sure they have RFID blocking technology. It can't hurt. 4. Sign up for online banking and check your credit card and bank statements frequently to ensure all the transactions are yours. 5. Install the apps for your credit cards on your phone. You can use them to monitor your transactions, and many of them have a handy feature that allows you to lock your card on the spot if you think it's been compromised. 6. If you do think your credit card information has been stolen, contact your bank right away. I wish I had more definitive information about RFID theft and whether or not it's a real risk. I don't consider myself to be paranoid, but I do like to hedge my bets. So that means using RFID blocking technology at home and abroad. There's no downside to doing it, but there could be a downside to not doing it. I'm Nora Dunn, aka the Professional Hobo, and I'll catch you next time. With